I would say that if you are first time, you call it a newbie. If you're first time to invest in virtual assets or crypto, a big lesson is don't borrow money to do it.
Oke, kembali lagi di Ngobrolin Kripto by Gudang Kripto. Kali ini kita kedatangan tamu spesial nih, langsung dari luar negeri. Sekarang udah ada di Indonesia untuk sekian bulan lah ya. Dan kita juga selalu semangat nih untuk bisa ngedatengin narasumber yang menarik agar audiens bisa belajar di Gudang Kripto. Kali ini kita kedatangan seorang Vice President di Gudang Kripto. Beliau bernama Mr. James. Hello, Mr. James.
Hi.
Yeah.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. Nice to meet you.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for inviting me today.
Sure. Yeah, it's such a honor for me to podcast with you. I hope the audience can learn a lot from your experience, from your maybe some case or anything, based on your background.
And it's my pleasure, and I realize that this is your first time in English, so We'll go nice and slow. It's nice to see you outside the office. I know Mr. Goody's here, and I like your little hat,
thank you.
We'll be very comfortable. So, so fire away.
Yeah.
All good.
Sure. So, James, you are in Indonesia around 10 months, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, since you are joining Gudang Kripto, as our Vice President.
Yes.
Yeah, so can you explain about your experience, your background? I know that you coming from bank, right?
Yes,
and
that's
you
correct.
have several times working at exchanger.
Correct.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Can you share to us?
So, so I've been in the industry, banking industry, or I would say financial services industry, for over 4 decades. So actually about 43 years. So I started my professional career 1983 in banking. So I actually worked in New York, and I worked on Wall Street. And I spent maybe about three decades or so in traditional capital markets banking. Goldman Sachs, I spent 25 years, HSBC, and Deutsche Bank. My specialty, and you can call me a subject matter expert, it's on risk control, mitigating risk, understanding operations, and really I would say the infrastructure. Traditionally people would call it back office functions or support functions. I like to call it more of infrastructure because it's just as important as all the other functions. I did that in multiple countries, US, UK, spent some time in Japan, 7 years in Japan, Hong Kong, Saudi Arabia, Middle East, Philippines, and now in Indonesia. 5 years now in the crypto world. And what I felt was really important was just to treat crypto like another asset class. So taking all the controls, the best practices, the thing that worked in traditional finance, and we know what works, and just bringing it over to the crypto. So I got into crypto right before COVID in 2019. So 5 years now in crypto, 3 different exchanges. My first exchange was in Hong Kong, and New York during COVID. Second exchange was in UAE, regulated exchange. And now I'm here, like you said, 10 months in Indonesia, helping, providing my professionalism to Gudang Kripto.
Okay, awesome. So since you are here, you looking the industry in Indonesia, especially for crypto, still growing. And what's your opinion about the future in crypto in Indonesia?
Sure. I would say it's very, very bright. So the future is bright. And why do I say that? I think right now, if you look around the world, there's probably about 4 or 5 locations that are really bullish and very, very pro crypto in the DeFi space, crypto in the trading space, crypto in the investment space. So you have places like the United States, you have UAE, Vietnam, and then of course I would say very close to that is Indonesia. So just the sheer size of the population of the country here and the appetite of a younger population demographics really creates a very good sweet spot for investment, build out, and opportunity. I would say there's probably about 30, 35 exchanges all setting up in Indonesia right now. GudangKripto being one of them. And we're all going through the same thing. So it's a really good, exciting time to be learning, setting the standards, setting the guidance, and working with the regulators. So I'm here for a reason. I'm here to lend my expertise, but also to grow and also to, understand a different culture and really put them on the map as far as being professional and really world-class exchanges and also world-class country for crypto and, blockchain and all that technology.
I see.
So very positive.
Yeah. Thank you. So we know that in crypto we have two kind like a DEX, decentralized exchange, and also checks, centralized exchange. And for Gudang Kripto, we are checks, right? So we have to comply with the regulation. Last year we have BAPPEBTI, but this year we moved to OJK.
Correct.
Yeah. So what's your challenge or kind of potential for the next year since we are under OJK?
So you're right. So I've come from the Middle East just recently, where we have been applying for licenses with the ADGM, which is similar to the OJK. That's a body based in Abu Dhabi. And similar type of process. You have to go through an inspection, fit and proper test, and eventually you'll get your license. What I've noticed with the OJK, which is the new regulator now, again, I would say they are very professional and very much compliant with what the rules and regulations are. Their main concern, the OJK, is protecting customer assets. And in the meetings that I've had with them, they are very concerned on making sure we have the right segregation, the right wallet management, and ensuring that the infrastructure is built not only from a technology point of view, but also from a risk management point of view. So I haven't dealt with the legacy regulator so much, but with the new regulator, they're asking all the right questions. And in fact, my experience that I have working in the other countries is helping them as well. So, we work with the regulator, but we also train the regulator as well. So they are really taking it very seriously. And even though it might be a little bit painful to get the license because you have to follow so many rules and regulations, at the end of the day, it's all about protecting the customer and protecting the assets and protecting the reputation of the country. Because as you know, it just takes one or two bad actors or a bad hack, and then we have to start from scratch. So I'll give you a little bit of an example, if you don't mind.
Sure.
When I first got into crypto, a lot of the conversations that we would have with potential investors or clients would be, we want to invest in your exchange, or we want to invest in your products. How are we going to make revenue? How are we going to make profits? And what are the trading pairs that are really going to work for us? And that was general. Most of the topics of conversation was around the commercial aspect of it. That has shifted now. And I saw that in the last 2 years, is that when we meet with the investors, either the retail investors, the family offices, the market makers, institutions, their main first question is going to be, how are you not going to lose my funds? How are you protecting your assets? How are you, what risk management and controls do you have in place to ensure that you have liquidity, to ensure that you have airtight wallet balances, and to ensure that you have a very validated risk management program? And that is generally the second question that we get from potential investors. And the OJK is right in line with that. And that is the most important thing, is the protection of the customers.
So all the things to make sure the amount or balance from the user is secure, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yes.
Okay, I see. Actually, I have some summary or notes in my paper that you said that your specialty is in operation.
Correct.
Based on your experience, why some exchanger should have the proper AML system, KYC system, transaction, and also we use the custody like Fireblock. Why we have the internal system?
So you really have to look at the life cycle of a transaction, really, from the user experience all the way to the regulatory reporting. So you're right. So the first aspect of the risk management control is, as you mentioned, KYC. Right. So I have a lot of experience in KYC. In fact, I ran a program out of the Philippines where we were remediating balances, KYC balances, tax factor balances, enhanced due diligence balances. So KYC, know your client.
Yeah.
And there's two aspects. There's know your client, and then there's enhanced due diligence of your client. You know, the source of funds, where your documentation is, what your IDs look like.
Face detection.
Yes.
Yeah.
Face recognition. Yes, right. So KYC, making sure that you're getting the right people to invest in your platform and you don't have any bad actors. So KYC, you have to invest in KYC, either centralized or decentralized. So we have some tools in Indonesia where we go into the database to make sure that the valid IDs are there. Next thing is once the customer is validated, then they can start investing, they can start trading. We have to make sure that those funds that are coming in, those crypto assets, those virtual assets are clean, right? So we do transaction monitoring, we do AML monitoring, anti-money laundering monitoring to make sure that the funds that are coming in are clean. So we have a team in operations that are just looking at transaction monitoring to make sure funds coming in are clean and funds going out are clean. If not, then we have a risk program to validate. And then if there is a problem, we report that to the regulator. Trade monitoring, same thing. Trading pairs, making sure there isn't any layering. You know, the buy and sells are validated. We're also doing that independently. So from onboarding to deposits, withdrawals, to trading, then to offboarding.
Withdrawals.
Yeah. So monitoring the withdrawals. The other aspect, I'll touch upon this now, you brought up Fireblocks. Fireblocks is really the custodian. We have the custodian, right? So in traditional banking, you would have a custodian that would be holding your positions or your inventory. Same thing in crypto. Fireblocks is primarily the biggest carrier that we have here. So the way that I always look at a transaction, so if Mr. Gunther is investing and buying Bitcoin, we want to make sure that his Bitcoin is safe and secure on our platform. I call it the operations portal. I would call it the stock record. It used to be called the stock record. We call it the crypto record. But the other side of that has to always be in a custodian, Fireblocks. So what we do is we create independent reconciliation to make sure that at any given point in time, your positions are secured. And if you want to withdraw those positions, you have that available to us. The complexity, and I'm not sure if this is your next question, but I'll bring it up anyway, is liquidity and treasury operations. Making sure, because we are dealing with both fiat, which is traditional money, and with virtual assets. So the treasury operations group has to make sure that we are totally monitoring the liquidity of our platform to have a right balance between fiat and then crypto. And then if you take the crypto even further, and this is the regulation, we have such things known as cold wallets and hot wallets. So really online and offline inventory. We have to make sure that we are monitoring a good balance between the inventory of the online wallets and the offline wallets. The offline wallets were cold storage, meaning pretty much unhackable. Two-factor verification, there's ceremonies that have to be done to move it out of cold storage. The difference with the regulator in Indonesia compared to the regulator that I saw in UAE is that the regulator here is making it mandatory that you move 70% of your virtual assets inventory into a cold wallet that is under their control. Okay.
We call here ICC for crypto and KKI for fiat.
So ICC is the regulatory body that rolls up to the regulator, and then we have to twice a day we have to balance and make sure that we have 70% of our virtual assets with ICC. If not, then we get a warning letter and we have to top off. I don't wait. So you talk about preventive and detective controls. I have instilled controls within our own control within Gudang Kripto, and you know about this because we talked about this on the first day. And now Mr. Gunther is now an expert on this, so you can give him a test after. I don't want to wait for a letter from the ICC. I want to know where my inventory is at any given point in time, and I want to have a real-time reconciliation. And that is going to be a difference maker in this industry to make sure that your virtual assets are always in safekeeping. And again, making sure that you're quite nimble. So the Treasury Operations Group, the infrastructure, is looking after liquidity between fiat and non-fiat, and then moving the balances between the hot, cold, and warm wallets to making sure that we always have the right structure put in place. And it's all, again, is safeguarding customer assets and client money.
Yeah, actually, I remember about in your first month in Gudang Kripto, you told me some cash from FTX.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it relates with our topic. Yeah. Why FTX bankrupt? Yeah.
Well, again, with what I can see with FTX, and there's been other crypto exchanges globally that have had similar issues. They did not have what I would call segregation of duties.
Yeah.
Meaning that their trading desk, their investment desk was also under the same management as their crypto exchange. And they were, in essence, to make it very simple, they were taking your fully owned assets. So if you've invested, it should be in safekeeping, but they were using your assets to fund another part of the business and to move money around. And when it came to the point where customers felt that something was wrong with the company and they wanted to withdraw, there was nothing there. So they shut down.
Because there's no liquidity.
There was no liquidity.
Okay.
But even worse than that, the reason why they failed is because they didn't take their segregation and operations and risk management seriously.
Yeah.
They were just looking at how profitable they can be on the distribution of coins. But again, my whole emphasis is to make sure that the infrastructure and the risk management is just as airtight as the marketing, the product and the technology. So that's one of the reasons why they failed. There's been a lot of others, particularly, again, where it all comes down to reconciliation and making sure that you're doing independent reconciliation in real time.
Yeah, it's very mandatory to make scalable, yeah.
And I'll just mention that the regulators, when I presented to the regulator here in Indonesia about 2 months ago, and I explained their program to them, my program, that we really put together a 3-tier reconciliation system, they were quite impressed. And again, not just based upon my experience, is that this is how the industry will continue to be successful if we have this experience in the risk management, compliance, and control space.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so we still on process to make it automation. Yeah, yeah.
So the problem, so I don't really think AI, Web3 and AI and DeFi is very helpful, but when it comes to the automation of the reconciliation and really maintaining the books and records of the golden source, that's going to take a little bit of time, because one of the things that I still think we need in Indonesia is we don't have a lot of experience from a human resource point of view, right? Most of the folks that are working for the exchanges don't have 40 years of experience, more or less do they have 5 years of experience like yourself. So it's going to take time for people to really understand that the investment has to be made. So the way I've always visualized this is that you invest in your operational components, such as treasury operations, AML, compliance level 1 and compliance level 2, and even your customer service. You invest in them early on, just so you can get your exchange up and running and making sure that you're having those manual controls in place, and then you let the technology take over. You don't want to build a system and have the risk and control up front too soon, because you need to experience the breaks and you need to experience how to resolve those items, and then you make the systems much better. That's why we have a customer service group that gets the input from the clients, saying this went wrong, that went wrong, I have a question on this, I have a question on that. And then I feed that back to my CTO, to my finance person, to our product person, and we make the process better. So that's, it's all related to each other. Everything comes back to operations.
Yeah, I see. So you in here almost 10 months.
Yes.
And especially we have first meeting and talking about the team, the division. I remember that you mentioned about 5 framework, like people.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and etc. Can you explain why you use this framework as your main vision to running the company?
So it's a framework, or it's really my pillars, or my framework for success. And I always, whenever I go into a new company or a new organization, a new product, it's people, process, stakeholder, risk, and commercial, right? So people, you invest in the people, get the right people, and spend as much time. Process, looking at the processes, making sure you have your processes documented and you have standard operating procedures. Then you're looking at operational risk. You're looking at your stakeholders, who are your clients, and then what are the commercial opportunities that you put in there. So, people, process, stakeholder, risk, and commercial. And you can transfer that to any type of business, to a crypto business, to a BPO in the Philippines, as I have. I worked for a investment bank in Saudi Arabia. Same thing. It's always going to come down to those 5 pillars.
Yeah, I believe your framework very works in Gudang Kripto. Especially, I know that our growth multiple times since you are in Gudang Kripto, yeah. But what's your challenge to running the Gudang Kripto itself? Risk or challenge instead of people, cash, or anything.
Yeah, so we talked about this, and I guess I would answer that question is what were my pleasant surprises in coming to Gudang Kripto, and what did I underestimate to be a little bit more difficult than I imagined? I would say very honestly and very frank, I underestimated the language. Now, even though I've spent time in other countries, I think I just got used to the fact that, we were dealing in English as a primary language, and that was not so much the case here. Now, you're an exception, but so I had to really go slow and just really make sure that my vision, because the visions that we have, even though we can document it and put it together in a visual aspect, people have to understand it. Right. So that was one of the challenges we're coming up with. The other is really, like I think we touched upon it, is we're backed by a bigger group, so we have to answer to our shareholders, and we have to answer to the people that are actually funding us. Where do you spend the money, right? And my challenge has been making sure that they understand that you cannot spend everything on technology and on product. You have to invest in infrastructure and make sure that the infrastructure is airtight. Because if we have a bad infrastructure, customer service group or an operations group, and there's 35 exchanges in Indonesia, the minute the customer has a bad experience, they're just going to go somewhere else, right? And that's from the onboarding to the transaction monitoring to the way we report to them. So, the challenge is making sure that our funding and our budget is covering all aspects of the business. So that has been a little bit of a challenge, but we're getting there as well. But, generally, I'm very pleased. And I think if you talk about the people side, our team now, I've noticed people work very hard. They're very smart. But you guys have a willingness to learn, right? Because you don't have the experience and you want to learn. And what I've instilled in the team, particularly in your team and Donnie's team, is it's okay to not know what you don't know, but it's not okay not to ask, right? So I encourage everybody to ask, to challenge. And if you come to me and say, Jim, I really don't understand this, can you explain it? And you have, believe me, maybe one too many times. No, but I'm like, but I really explain it, and just make sure that you have a good fundamental understanding, because we are, as I told you guys, both you guys, you're in a sweet spot right now. You're building an exchange in a country that is building the crypto space, and this is only going to come around once. Right? In 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's going to be mature. So you're in the learning zone right now, and take advantage of that.
Actually, for myself, I learned a lot from you. Kind of leadership, how to manage team, and etc. So people in our team still grow and improve. As you know that. And maybe can we intermezzo? May I know your favorite food in Indonesia?
My what? Sorry.
Favorite food.
My favorite food.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, there's so many. My wife and I just took a trip to Yogyakarta, so we're eating some of the delicious seafood there.
Seafood.
But if I had, Indonesian meal, it's always the same thing. It's rendang.
Rendang, okay.
Gado-gado.
Gado-gado.
Mie goreng.
Mie goreng.
And some satay.
Satay.
And a big giant bottle of Bintan beer.
Okay.
And that's and it's spicy food, but I very much like spicy food. So so far we've really enjoyed, and every weekend we try different restaurants, street food. Sometimes we go to restaurants, and it's very nice.
Sate chicken or sate kambing? Sate ayam atau sate kambing?
I like the chicken. So that's my standby with the peanut sauce. Oh, it's so good.
Okay, I see. Cool. How about Indonesia? Do you explore here?
So yes, like again, the 10 months that you said, one of the things that I said about this assignment is that I really want to be able to say after my time in Indonesia, I not only got to know the people, but I also got to know the country. Yeah. So we've traveled around. Like I said, we took a trip this past weekend. We've been to Bali, Lombok, the Gillies Islands.
Okay.
It's wonderful. It probably is, again, exceeding my expectations of how friendly the people are. Yeah. And of course the traffic, but once you can navigate the traffic and know that it's always going to be shitty, or always be bad.
That's fine.
Then you get over that. But then it's very nice. And it's such a big country. There's so many things to explore. Yeah. So we're really having a really great time, and there's still many things to explore as well.
Yeah, I saw your status. You coming Yogyakarta, Borobudur, right?
That's right. Yes, we were there last weekend.
Yeah. Yes. Cool.
Yeah, we went to the temple. Of course, it was a wonderful place to see. A lot of history there. Very Instagrammable. Right?
I see.
But then we also went to some of the other places around and got some really good culture. So it was nice. So yeah, we had a nice trip.
Okay. So how do you feel about Indonesia? Because I know here hot for the weather, yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, I personally reside in 2 locations. If you want to see where my home is, so I was born in New York. We have a place in Brooklyn, which is in New York City, East Coast.
Yeah, I see.
So in Brooklyn, we can enjoy the 4 seasons, so snow to the summer. But my wife is from the Philippines, so we also reside in Cebu, which is an island in the Philippines. So the weather in the Philippines is exactly like the weather in Indonesia. So I don't have any problem with the weather, with the climate. There's some pollution within the city, but it's going to be like that in any city. So again, like I said, there's really every day that I wake up, I don't realize that I'm in Indonesia. I'm home, right, for the time being. Yeah. And we just get on with it.
Yeah. So you like Indonesia?
I do like Indonesia. Yes, I would definitely recommend it to anybody who's either coming here to work or coming here to visit. But it's really a very good land of opportunity, emerging market, and I think try it, because certainly if you have an open mind, Indonesia is for you.
Okay. So, James, our podcast will be shared to the YouTube, Instagram, and other social media. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you share to the audience about the how to success in the future? Because our segmentation still younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they can learn from your side or from your experience.
Sure. I would say that if you are first time, you call it a newbie. If you're first time to invest in virtual assets or crypto, a big lesson is don't borrow money to do it.
Oh, okay. Right? Don't borrow money. Hot money.
Yeah. You should only invest as much as you're willing to lose. Yeah. Okay. Don't borrow money. Don't get too excited. Most people that invest in crypto, they're doing it for several reasons. One, you want to test that. You want to buy some crypto and you want to make a profit, and you hope the price will go up. Others are just buying it and holding it for maybe as an investment. Some of them are trading. So for the new people that are there, I think you have to really don't think that you're investing in crypto and that the price is going to go up. As you can see, I think it's at 85 right now, Bitcoin. But it's cyclical. It'll go up, it'll go down, it will go up, it'll go down. Yeah. Luckily, Bitcoin doesn't get too impacted by world events such as the tariffs. It was a little bit, but that's pretty stable right now. So I think if you're new to it, learn as much as you can. So Gudang Kripto, we do have our learning society, and I know you're a part of that.
Yeah, we have learned to earn.
Learn to earn, right? So one of the things that we feel is going to make a difference for us is that we want to give back. We want to give back to the community. We want to give back to the investors. And I think it's really our responsibility to educate people who are going to invest, because we want people to be successful and to learn. So if we can earn to learn, or give incentives for people for the longer they hold positions, or more the trades that they have, or referral programs, it's all a good thing. We also offer people to go to take some online classes, to get certificates, and then they have opportunities to do more things. So don't be shy, but do your homework and really understand that the risks are related to it, and everything isn't going to be a profit. There's going to be days where you're up and you're down, but in the long term, final point, just invest as much as you can lose right now and don't borrow money.
Yeah. The way I asked you about it because most of the new user in Indonesia coming or entry to the crypto because FOMO from the maybe influencer or kind of that's why they have to enough education from entry the market, right?
Yeah, but the FOMO thing can be quite dangerous too because you're doing it for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
You should be doing it because you have an interest in learning about the capital markets, learning about where the industry is going. I think you asked me, where do I see crypto? I think 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's still going to be around. It's like the .com. You're probably too young to realize that the .com era in the early 2000s, everybody had a web search agent, right? 25 years later, there's pretty much only one or two Google, right? So in this industry, it's all going to be learning from other folks' hard work, mistakes, and just building upon that. And 5-10 years from now, hopefully one day you'll be able to really buy a pizza with some Bitcoin.
Okay, cool. So because the limitation of the time, maybe we almost at the end of the session. So can you give us the closing statement, anything that you want to say?
Sure. So again, I appreciate the time to come to talk to you guys today. It's my pleasure. Look, I think my closing statement is really going to be twofold. It's going to be about Indonesia and the opportunity within Indonesia. We are now in a transition phase within the country where we're going to a regulator that is much more professional and much more tuned in to what is right and wrong. So we have to make sure that we are nimble enough and understand all the nuances to make sure that we are doing all the right things for our clients. So my closing statement is that we, as an exchange, number one priority is customer protection. And number one priority is to make sure that their client assets are always in good faith and good standing, and that you as an investor or you as an investor feel secure that if I invest in Gudang Kripto, they're going to have a very good product offering. They're going to have products, that are going to be different. We just launched our gold-based coin, so that was quite successful. But my positions, my balances, my investments are going to be safe and secure. So product offering, secure balances, and a professional team is my closing statement in an industry and in a country that is really emerging right now. So it's exciting times. I wish I was your age because you have another 30 years of years ahead of you. But it's only going to be good. But you have there's no easy way. There's no shortcut. You have to work, you have to study, and you really have to understand. And if you apply yourself to that, then I would say the next couple of decades, you never know. Indonesia could be leading the industry, and it's a really good opportunity.
Good check.
So I'd leave it there.
Thank you for the closing statement, sir.
No problem.
By the way, if anyone want to contact to you, do you have social media or LinkedIn maybe? Can you share to the audience?
I do have social media. I'm using LinkedIn, primarily LinkedIn. Some Facebook. My generation is more of the Facebook rather than the Instagram. I certainly don't use TikTok. My daughter uses TikTok. But yeah, LinkedIn, WhatsApp and stuff like that. Do you want me to share it, or you can just, I have email as well.
Okay. So your LinkedIn name is James Reed?
Yeah, you could just put James Reed, and you'll find my name there. Or you can just Facebook James Reed as well. You can find me there.
Okay,
so,
all right.
Yeah.
We will put on the caption.
Yeah, put in the caption, and I'll be, if people want to contact me, ask questions. My 40 years of experience at this point is about giving back. I've done all this, seen all this, and now it's an opportunity to give back to people who are taking the same journey. And I feel that that's my number one responsibility, at least where I am in my career right now. But, cool.
Okay, cool. So before we close the session, can you follow me to say some word in Indonesia?
I can say yes. I can say.
I can say first, then you follow me.
Oh, I have to follow you.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
With the main camera.
Okay, right.
Ya.
Okay, no problem.
Sampai jumpa lagi.
Sangabukari.
Repeat.
Okay.
Sampai jumpa
lagi.
lagi. Ya, bye-bye.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Okay.